level program, and we will, myself and
of your child at heart and the decisions that he makes, and the other things that I can promise you, in the times that I've met with him, I believe in him. I believe in his ability to help us take the next step forward. I believe in his ability to be a good mentor to your children, and I believe in his ability to communicate with the parents in the room as adults and be honest and straightforward about where your child stands. Those are the reasons why I personally felt he was the best person for the job, and I think those on the interview committee would also agree with me, but I don't want to speak for them. So with that said, Coach Taynor, take care of it.
Well, first off, thank you to everyone here for being here. I appreciate it. I'm extremely excited to get the opportunity over, really it's going to be the next 2 weeks. You're going to get a brief introduction into my background, a little bit about me, what our expectations in the program will be, how we'll move forward together. We will go through those things tonight, but really over the next couple weeks, I'm full scale invested in getting to know everybody within this program. So I look forward to those opportunities to meet all of you. I've already started on the phone with several people, sat down with coaches just a little bit ago, and it'll be a whirlwind tour of getting to know people. Every single one of you in this room get the opportunity to play this great game because you have good people in your corner. There is somebody that when you leave today, it would be great if you took the time in order to thank them for helping you to get to this position where you get to be a Sidney Yellow Jacket. You get a chance to be that. So please take the time, all right, in order to thank someone and have an attitude of gratitude and pay that forward. Okay, so that's your call to action and challenge. All of us got to these positions because of great people. You're going to hear some stories about people that have been very influential in me getting to this position today, and understand that every position that I've been in, when I've taken that position, I said the people that were in the program, they are my people. I am 100% invested in getting to know you and how I can help develop you to maximize your potential, not only as a student athlete, right, but as a student, as a member of the community, as a leader when you graduate from here. So you guys can all grab a seat, but make sure when you leave, okay, have an attitude of gratitude and thank someone for being here. Okay, first, a little side story on this, and if it's someone here, obviously the real quick one, thank mom and dad as you go out the room, but think of somebody else too that you can thank. And if they're not here with you, right? I know snail mail doesn't get used a whole lot, but this is the holidays now. Go and get a card, write them a thank you card, put it in the mail and send it to them. They will appreciate it. Okay. Now, moving forward, a little background on myself and how I ended up arriving at this position. It's all based upon relationships. A couple weeks ago, I got a call. Well, actually, I got a Facebook message that came from GC Kimmel. I played with, you guys I'm sure know Mr. Kimmel, but he sent me a message, said, Dave, are you happy? I go, I'm always happy, okay? And he goes, well, okay, and he kind of started jumping, I said, but why are you asking? And he started talking a little bit about Sidney football and the support within the community, the people that are here. And I could just see from that and from him talking the passion he had for this place. And it was obvious the passion was there. Went a little bit further, got an opportunity in order to talk to Mitch. Came over here and met with him, and it was obvious that he had a passion to build a championship level program here at Sidney. It was obvious. It was through every part of it. And then he happened to reconnect a couple dots for me on Mr. Ross over here, that he was around us at Urbana University, which I'll talk about that background in a minute, when I was the head coach at Urbana University, and things started falling in line. And this is an awesome opportunity for myself and my family. I got my daughter here. My wife is on her way. We have family pictures tomorrow, and we were supposed to all get our hair cut. I don't have a whole lot of hair, so I can miss the appointment to get ready for family pictures tomorrow. So she's supposed to be here, but my daughter Chloe's in the room, and this is a great opportunity for all of us. So background on me. I'm originally from Columbus, Ohio. I grew up on the west side of Columbus. I grew up on what's called the Hilltop area. I went to Briggs High School, Columbus Briggs High School, went there. Didn't have a whole lot growing up. We came from a pretty poor family. Didn't have a lot, but I had a great situation when I look back on it. I had both my parents were at home. Mother and father were there. I had my brother. I had 2 sisters that were there. I never starved for a meal, obviously. I'm an offensive line guy, if you haven't noticed that yet. I don't play corner, didn't play corner. So I was well fed growing up, taken care of. Then I went to Urbana University and was fortunate to go there, both football and baseball scholarships. Went to Urbana, got there, and the first 2 years of my college career were nothing like I expected. To steal a line from Mike Tyson, everybody has a great plan until they get punched in the mouth. First 2 years of school, I ended up being a pallbearer in 7 funerals. Lost my sister to a heroin overdose, best friend in high school shot and killed himself, 3 grandparents, 3 aunts. My mother had a stroke that left her debilitated for the rest of her life. My dad had open heart surgery, all within that first year and a half of school. And I was spiraling in a direction that was not in alignment with where I wanted to be. But I ended up being surrounded by some phenomenal people. Those people at Urbana University, the faculty, my teammates, my now wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, never let me be a prisoner of those circumstances. When I felt sorry for myself and started feeling sorry for myself and knowing I had somebody there to kick me in the butt, Rich Newsom, he's the best man at my wedding, played tackle next to me. He was there. When I needed somebody to drive me home because I didn't have a car, Ron Hudson drove me home. He's my coach. When I needed somebody to lean on, my now wife, she was there. So I always had somebody. And it took me about 2 years to develop that attitude of gratitude and understanding that what they were doing for me, I had to be able to pay for it. So after those 2 years, I decided I wanted to be a college football coach. That was the goal. Initially, I went to college with the idea I was going to be a math education teacher, and I was going to coach. I was good at math, and I'll tell you why I was good at math, was football. As a 5, 6-year-old, I used to play with my G.I. Joes, little action figures, and I'd play football with them. And my mom heard me when I was about 5, heard me say 7 touchdowns was 49 points. And she goes, okay. She goes, what's 3 field goals and a touchdown? It's like 16 points. You know, and when you're a kid, you get a lot of safeties and weird things happen in games. She's like, well, what's 2 safeties and a touchdown? I was like, 11 points. And I taught myself multiplication tables because of football as a little kid. So I wanted to be involved with football, but it was after those 2 years in college that I realized the real value in being a football coach is being able to pay forward what this game had done for me as a human being. So after those 2 years, I decided to be a college football coach. And I moved into the college game, coached at the University of Louisville in '99 and 2000. Was able to win a conference championship while I was there as a GA. That led to being the offensive coordinator at Culver Stockton College out in Missouri. My second year there, we had the best offense in school history. Had the first winning season in over 20 years. From there, went to Wisconsin Stevens Point as a defensive coordinator. It was my one foray as a college defensive coordinator. Went over there 1 year, but I worked for a phenomenal man, John Mish, who was the first real mentor I had in the coaching profession because of how invested he was in a place, in a community. He'd been there for over 20 plus years. It is the one goal in my career that I have not really touched. On the way here today, I was actually talking to my daughter, and we were talking about football, and she was okay, guys, she's a bigger Ohio State fan than me and probably anybody else in this room. Okay, but we're talking about football, and she's asked me about playing. I said, you know, as a player, the reality is when I look back now, I said, 10 years ago I wouldn't have said this. I said there was still a lot more in the game that I could have done as a player. The reality was, I said, now I kind of look at it, I probably maximized my potential. I was an offensive lineman, I'm 6 foot tall. I ended up being an All-American offensive lineman, was academic and athletic All-American, was all-state football player, was all-state baseball player, had scholarships in both of those. I maximized what I could do. As a coach, there is one thing that I haven't maximized yet, and that was from my time at Wisconsin Stevens Point. I saw a man who truly drove a community because of the people he was able to touch from that position. John Mish was able to do that at Wisconsin Stevens Point. That's the one area. So the final message that I'll end up leaving you guys with when we get to it, that's what I want to do here at Sidney. I want to be able to have that type of impact in the community with the development of people, and that's a long-term impact. I'm at the point in time in my career where this is that time for me. But I was at Wisconsin Stevens Point as a defensive coordinator, 04-05, then went to Tiffin University as the offensive coordinator there. We went 19-3 in a 2-year period. Had the best offense in school history while we were there. That led to me getting the head coaching job at Urbana University, and honestly, that was the place that I thought was going to be that opportunity in order to stay and impact the community for a long period of time. So I took the job there with no intentions on ever leaving. Again, when you have great plans, sometimes you get hit in the mouth. First year there, we went 1-10. And then after that year, I go, all right, go from being an assistant to a head coach. Now you got to make decisions and you got to build leaders. You build leaders within the program. Build culture through those leaders. Your players are your leaders, and they need to be able to build culture in the program. So going into the 09 season, we put a big focus on cultural development, which we'll lean into here in a minute. Put a big focus on it, led to having a 6-5 season at the University of, at Urbana University. We got a win down at University of Dayton in a money game. They pay us because we were Division II, they're Division I, paid us $10,000, so I had a nice little check in my pocket and took a Gatorade bath with it on there, had to protect the check. We didn't have a whole lot of money at Urbana, so I want to make sure that it didn't get ruined. But went 6-5 in that year, which was the only second winning season in the history of the school. The next 4 years, we won 2 conference championships and played in 4 conference championship games. During that same time, I said I was never going to leave Urbana. Didn't think I would. University went bankrupt. God had some different plans. University went bankrupt. Was bought by Franklin University. Was there for about a year. It wasn't the same Urbana University anymore. It was more Franklin University at that time. So in my career, I have ran into fires more than I have palaces. Okay? I made a choice to let's go rebuild another. Lock Haven University didn't win a game from 2007 to 2012. They lost 55 consecutive games. So that sounds like a good place to go and build. Let's go make it happen. So first year there, we had a best offense in school history. Second year, we had the only winning season that Lock Haven has had in the history of their program as a Division II program. We went 4-3 in conference. After the season, as with all places that may have had a 55-game losing streak, things tend to happen. At the end of the year, they cut all of our scholarships and said, if you're going to give any scholarships, you got to fundraise them. And I suddenly became a development officer, running up and down the East Coast, and not spending nowhere near the time that I should have as a dad for this young lady. And realized that during that point in time. I kept a rock on my desk as a college football coach. It said husband, father, and mentor. It was there for 2 reasons. 1, to remind me this is what I should be, but 2 was for recruiting, being completely honest. You know, it was a good recruiting idea. This is what I wanted to be. It was a perfect utopian vision of doing it. I realized after 2019 that I wasn't locked into that vision the way I should have been. So I made a choice. Come back to Ohio. I was actually going to start my own business and do leadership training and coach part-time. I don't do coaching part-time. That was completely ill-advised at that point. I'm a full-time coach. This is what I do. I coach all the time. I teach all the time. So ended up in 2020, was going to coach at Urbana University. The university closed. Then was going to go to Otterbein. They decided to move the season to the spring. Football is not played in the spring. I've been doing this since I was 6. It's played in the fall. So I said, all right, I got to find some place. My nephew played for Graham High School, and I had 2 of my former players that were the head coach and offensive coordinator there at the time. And one of my guys I played with was another assistant at that point in time. So I'll come out and help you guys. Didn't realize that I was going to end up becoming the head coach. And at that point in time, had no real idea that I wanted to do that full circle back to that 6-year-old that wanted to be a high school coach, 7-year-old high school coach. You know, I wanted to do that. I wanted to be involved with football, and that was the goal all the way up until I went to college. Had no idea until I was actually in the position, and I realized that 1, football is awesome. Something that's beautiful to do every single day. It's a great platform to be in, to be able to impact the student athletes that you work with. And then being able to do it within a community also allowed me to be a part-time softball coach, which means I do it every single day with her. She's actually mad at me today because we didn't do her workout because we had to come here. So I might have to go out to the hitting facility afterwards so that she can hit a couple balls because she's ticked off at me that I didn't get her workout in today. So, but I get a chance to be a dad. I get a chance to have those opportunities, and that is why I'm standing here in this position. Now, let's flip the script here a little bit. What we will be doing and what you can expect at Sidney High School football moving forward. Leaders create culture. Culture drives behaviors or actions. Behaviors that support your culture, fortify that culture, behaviors and actions that don't will destroy that culture. We focus on the development of leaders. We have a leadership development platform that we will use to develop our culture within the program. That culture will support a championship level program, and we will, myself included and everybody in the program community, we will adhere to an elite level within that culture and that leadership. We will focus on that development. It will be a constant thing that we are focused on doing. What is the culture we're looking for? Okay. Want to, tempo, us. So what is want to? It's passion. Nothing great on this earth has ever happened without having passionate people behind it. Passionate people refuse to accept there isn't a better way. They are relentless, lifelong learners. They are constantly looking to better themselves. We all have this toolbox in life that we fill with tools that will help us be successful. We will focus on developing those skills and those fundamentals. And then the second thing, because we focus so hard on developing those skills, it will be natural for us in the times of adversity to reach into that toolbox to overcome any obstacle that sets in front of us. So we will have want to. The second part is tempo. Tempo is a one more than you approach to life. You got one opportunity at this day. I got one opportunity at this moment right here. The reality is I've spent 46 years preparing for this moment right here. Okay? All right, tempo is a approach and work ethic of one more than you. Win this moment. Tomorrow when you wake up, you look in the mirror, the only thing to fear is complacency. We don't sit still. We look to grow. We look to better ourselves, to fill that toolbox. Use that toolbox to better your teammates and better yourselves. Which leads into the third part, which is us. Football and life are the best team games there are in this world. Okay? We all have strengths and weaknesses. We all have things that we do really well. We all have things that we struggle with. As a great teammate and an us person that builds trust in your teammates, you use your strengths to better your teammates. And you train your weaknesses to protect your teammates. And you recognize what are the areas that you need to improve, and you lean on and lean into the leadership of the others that are within the program in order to better yourself in those areas. So that culture is want to, tempo, and us. To build that culture, we'll have a platform for success that we use. There's 5 basic individual characteristics that lead into it. It'll be posted. It's going to be posted out there as soon as I can get it posted out there. It's going to be put out there. It's going to be on everything that we do. This platform has 5 basic individual characteristics at the bottom. The first one's passion, as we talked about. Passionate people are relentless, lifelong learners. The second part is work ethic. It's the one more than you approach. This is also a chance for me to brag on family for a minute here. I have a brother named Chuck Vogelpol. If any of you guys have seen West Side versus the World on Netflix, you can kind of check it out. But he was the first human being under super heavyweight in powerlifting to squat over 1,000 pounds. At the 220 weight class in 2000, he squatted 1,025 pounds. Actually, I've been in 2 car wrecks over the 3 weeks before that, but that's another story we'll get into. But he also currently holds a world record for squat with a 1,180 pound squat in the 242 pound class. It's where I got one more than you from. When I was in college, I used to go back and do squat workouts with him. I have the unfortunate distinction of being one of the few people on earth who has squatted over 800 pounds, and his brothers out squatted him by over 300 pounds. So for what that's worth. But I go back and I train with him. And I was pretty good in math. He can't count. It is what it is. So him and I are training together. I made the mistake on the day we were doing 8 sets of 2 box squat. We got to the 8th set. I said, Chuck, how many sets are we going to do anyway? He goes, I don't know how many you're going to do, but I'm going to do one more than you. So now your older brother's called you out. You got no choice. All right, so 35, 36 sets later, I'm going out the back door, throwing up, crawling back underneath the squat rack in order to go, because I couldn't turn down that opportunity in order to live up to the expectations. He was one of my biggest mentors. To live up to those expectations were there, but I couldn't actually ever meet them. All right? But that's where that one more than you approach to come from, and that's what the work ethic is. Integrity, the third block, okay, we will be men of integrity within our program, which means our responses to adversity and success will be intentional, they'll be on process, and they'll be skillful. Okay? Lack of integrity, or a man of compromise, their response to adversity and success is one that's impulsive. It's on autopilot and resistant to change. One thing you're promised in your lives every single day is change. Poor leaders will fear that change. Good leaders will adapt with that change, and great leaders will take advantage of the opportunities created within that change. We build good and great leaders here at Sidney. Okay. Fourth block, okay? Fourth block is selflessness. We talked about it. Strengths and weaknesses. Let's build a brotherhood of trust. How do you build trust? Okay. There's 3 C's to it. And that process starts here today now. There's connection. I want to know about you. You've gotten to hear a lot about me, but you won't really know me until you sit down and you work with me. Okay? So you know what I'm telling you right now, but you'll get to know me the same time I get to know you. We'll develop connection. Okay? Character. Character means there are lines in our life that we hold. We hold those lines, and we will not sacrifice those lines. Right? And the third part is competence. You build your competence every single day. And I talked about this a little bit earlier. I said I've spent 46 years developing this. Well, I started getting into coaching career, I think at about 22 years old, so it's been about 24 years of every single day is devoted towards developing that competence within this. I am going to use that strength to help develop you. That's my commitment to you. Okay? The last part's enthusiasm. The last block in those 5, in case you haven't noticed, I might have a little bit of enthusiasm. It doesn't quit. It never will. All right? The day I decide to be complacent and sit still is the day that they'll probably put me in a box. All right? But until that point in time, enthusiasm is focused energy on what you have to do. Okay? Focused energy. Next year when we start camp, day 1, everybody will be excited about day 1. All right? Because you're just getting started. Everybody's going to be excited. Day 2, you'll be excited, but you'll be looking forward to that first opportunity to put pads on. We put pads on day 3, that third day when you actually can have your pads on and you hit and figure out who the real football players are. That's how the process goes. Day 4, you're sore, you're tired, you're beat up. Okay? We will have a big brother program or accountability program that starts on that day. And it'll start based upon us trying to find and partner each of you with, if I got a young guy that's thriving, I'm going to put him with an older guy who's trying to just get by. All right? You're going to challenge each other. And then if I have a young guy that's struggling, I'm going to find the best leader and we'll partner up with him. We all work together as us. So enthusiasm is that focused energy. Can you be enthusiastic and can you push when it's really tough, when it's adverse? Can you work through those? The second level of this is a group team continuum, leadership, confidence, and competitive greatness. All right? Leadership, train 2 types of leaders, good leaders and great leaders. What is a good leader? A good leader, this is a Franklin Roosevelt definition of leadership. What's a good leader? A good leader is someone who gets people to believe in the leader. If I do a good job as a leader, you'll believe in me. If you do a good job as a leader, people will believe in you. Okay? Now, how do you become a great leader? Not only do you get people to believe in you, but you inspire them to believe in themselves. At some point in time, we'll have captains get named, and I'm pretty sure a captain will probably ask the question, even though we're talking about it right now. They're going to ask the question, what do I do as a captain in order to be a leader? Well, I should be a great leader. How do you be a great leader? Help others prepare. It's not about, okay, I've spent a lot of years doing talks and talking with people, and I've got experience in doing. That's not what a leader is. A leader helps people prepare. If you're prepared, you'll have confidence and you'll believe in yourself. So we will have grind zones. There'll be some grind zones out here in the facility. What's a grind zone? That's an area where you come in and get extra work. The only requirement for a grind zone is never show up by yourself. Bring a teammate. Help them prepare as well. If you do that, if you show up the grind zones, you put the extra work in, and you bring a teammate along, you're taking the steps to being a great leader. It's very simple. Get 100% out of yourself every single day. Win that day. Then help your teammates prepare. So that's leadership, and confidence is preparation. You put those 2 things together, leadership and confidence, that gives you the opportunity to achieve competitive greatness. Competitive greatness was stolen from John Wooden. For all the players in the room, how many of you know who John Wooden was? I'll ask the parents here in a second. He's like, yeah, I got him. How many players know who John Wooden was? Okay. How many of you know who Lou Alcindor was? Okay. How many of you know who Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was? Lou Alcindor and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar are the same person. Okay. They played for John Wooden. John Wooden was the head basketball coach at UCLA, won 10 consecutive national titles. He has a pyramid for success, and the top block of that pyramid says competitive greatness. He defined it as being at your best when your best is needed. I have by no way earned the right to do this, but I did it anyway. I redefined something that John Wooden did. We redefined competitive greatness as being at your best for your 6 seconds. A singular football play is 6 seconds in time. Okay, most big decisions that you will make as a person is also made in a very short period of time. We want to build you into a position that you can make a great decision in those moments, on and off the field. Okay? What is a great decision? It's a decision that's made because of your leadership and your confidence. That's different than a right decision. A lot of people ask me about discipline. I go, there's 2 different types of discipline. There's coach discipline. I'm going to hold a certain line, but the reality is to build a championship program, you have to have player discipline and cultural discipline. Cultural discipline leads to great decisions versus right decisions. Right now, my daughter's 10 years old. I want her to make right decisions. Those are decisions that keep her safe and make her happy. And my wife, who just walked back here, say hello to her. I just walked into the back of the room, so she just popped in with her new hair for the Mars pictures. All right? So when we want her to make right decisions. Those are decisions that we approve of. As she grows, we want to try to, as parents, do our best to help her make great decisions, which is help her improve her leadership skills and her confidence and her preparation, so she can make those great decisions for the right reasons. That's what the cultural development model is. Okay? That is what we will be here. All right? Sidney Yellow Jackets will be a want-to tempo us program. We will build an elite level of culture and an elite level program because we will do it as a community and as a group, okay, as a team. So I look forward to the opportunity in order to meet individually with all of you, okay? Meeting with all the coaches throughout this week during Christmas break, okay? So you guys got one more. During Christmas break, I'm going to set aside times where I want you guys, and I'm going to meet with the coaches. As I meet through coaches and figure out a plan, we'll probably have like an open gym, not gym like play basketball gym, open weight room type time, and be able to bring some of you in each day in order to meet with you individually, and I can sit down and talk to you. With those meetings, okay, I got a couple questions that I'm going to ask you. Okay, one of them is, what do you see in yourself when you walk across the stage as a graduate from Sidney High School? When you walk across the stage, your parents are out there, your family's out there, coaches are out there in the audience. What do you want to have achieved at that point in time? What's a vision of yourself? All right, the second thing is, what are you going to see yourself on senior day? You walk across on senior day, I'm going to shake your hand, I'm going to give you a hug. What does that person look like? What are the goals? What do you want to be at those points? So those are the 2 questions. I'm going to ask a lot of other stuff, but those are 2 major questions that I want to know about you when we do those individual meetings. Okay? And that's all I really have as far as the talk is concerned here. I am more than welcome to talk to any of you individually, or if there's any questions that you have that are burning questions, fire away.